Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to produce an image of a common knapweed in mixed media. So we're going to use collage today. So I have used an old magazine. It happens to be a gardening magazine, and it's from last year, so I've used that to cut up little tiny pieces of colour. So I've got various purples, some greens, I've got some greens for the stems, and I've just used an old biscuit container to keep hold of them and keep them separate. I've got some glue, I've got a piece of coloured paper, I've got my image, and I've got a pair of scissors. And I'm just going to start we're going to look at this image here, and I'm going to start by collaging the stem. Then I'll do the head, the flower head, and then the flower. So you need to think when you're doing collage about layers and how they sit on top of one another. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of the stem, and then I will move on to this section and this section. And I'll probably do those in time lapse, okay, so that you can watch them speeded up. You can see there's lots of webs on this common knapweed. It's a very important plant and a source of food for all sorts of birds, especially goldfinches, honeybees, moths, and butterflies, and lots of other types of insects. So please don't cut it down if you have it in your garden. Leave it alone and watch it produce food for all the insects and birds. It's from the daisy family and comes in, and also there's one called the black knapweed. So as well as the common knapweed, there's the black knapweed, found across Europe and the UK, and seen as a weed, unfortunately, but like I said, it's really important for all our pollinators. So slowly cut up your bits, make them quite thin for now because we're going to do the stem, and I'm just going to run. If you would like to, you can draw out your flower first, but I'm just going to do it freehand. I'm just going to put some glue down the middle, and then I'm going to start applying my pieces. These just happen to be little images of string beans, I think we call them. So just apply your pieces. Collage always works better if you do it in pieces rather than in whole strips. You can do it that way, but it looks more interesting and has more texture if you use bits, and also can look a bit sort of mosaic like. I'm going to just cut a little bit of shape into some of these pieces for leaves though, so stick that down. Always look at your image and try and replicate the shapes that you're seeing. Hopefully you've got enough green stuff. You can see I've got runner beans and French beans here. It's quite interesting that I've got images, collage pieces from a gardening catalogue. But you know, use these things rather than throwing them away. It's a much better idea to use them for some artwork. So I'm using the whole pieces for the leaves, but I'm going to put a little bit of a different tone in. So if I can find a lighter, so there's some lighter bits here, so you can even cut the whole bean out and incorporate that into You can tear these things as well. They often look really nice torn. So try and fit the shape to one of the structures. And then it will give it some texture then. Okay, so that's for the stem. I'm going to build this up so you can see it build up into its finished form. I've got these little centres of sunflower heads here, and that's what I'm going to use for the flower cup bit. So again, I might need to apply glue to the actual, so that will be the texture that I've chosen for that part of the flower. I'll just build that up really slowly like that. And then on top, for the top sections, because I'm going to put this on time lapse now so that you can just watch it build up quickly. You will get sticky, so just be aware of that. Okay, so this will be the spike, and this is why I've picked out lots of different shades of purple, so that I can get a variety of colours. Okay, so that's the basics. Just keep building using small and large pieces for the flower head. You can even cut shapes into them like I said. Okay, so enjoy watching this build up now. Okay, so there we have more or less the finished piece. So I put some highlights on using some white paper on the left hand side of the stem and on top of some of the leaves. I used the shape of some of the green beans to make the leaves. I added some potatoes around here and some curly kale, purple curly kale in there. And then this is just a series of purples taken from the gardening catalogue. Try and get as many varied colours of purple, pink as possible for you to work with, and try and put in some square ends as well as some pointed ends. It's not far away from the original, you know. You could spend more time on this. If we had longer for the tutorial, then you could make it more detailed. But that is the basic theory of collage mixed media. You could use lots of different pieces of mixed media. You could use newspaper, magazine, old books, you know, books that have been damaged in some way. I often use old photocopied prints, things like that. So you don't just have to stick to magazines. Remember that this is an important source of food for all the butterflies and insects and birds. So try and leave it where it is and try and let it go to seed, because the goldfinches particularly like it. Introduce it into your meadows, into your lawns. They produce a lot of seeds, so you know they spread quite quickly. Really important source of nectar as well. Okay, hope you enjoy it. Have a go at collage. It's a really fun thing to do, especially if you spend a lot of time painting like I do. Okay, that's all for now. See you next time. Bye.